Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Stormworks, and in this one, this is quite possibly maybe the last building episode on the oil tanker, Awacs, VTOL, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so we're going to just kind of play around with it a little bit right now, and then later in the episode, we're going to do some detailing. Hopefully I'll get some videos out for you guys on us kind of playing around with it and going against the AI and whatnot, that kind of fun stuff. But yeah. For the meantime, we are just going to kind of check this thing out in its current state and play with it a little bit, maybe crash it, and, we'll go from there. But I know for a fact that we're going to do some detailing towards the cargo bay. We still need to kind of get some lights set up and that kind of good stuff. And so we're going to do a lot of that, probably a little bit of paint blocks and that kind of thing. Nothing too technical in this episode, but yeah, that's pretty much it and what we got planned for this one. So I'll do my best to get this thing on the workshop soon, obviously, and the workshop pages always kind of take a little bit longer than I'd like them to, but it's a necessary part of Stormworks, and especially if you're building stuff for the workshop like I am. But yeah, so once I get that on the workshop, you guys will definitely know. I'll make a video about it on YouTube, and obviously there will be a couple of announcements in the Discord and whatnot. But yeah, if you haven't, while we're talking about it, if you haven't checked out the Discord, definitely check it out. There will be a link down below. It's a great place to kind of make some friends, just kind of hang out, play some games, and learn about Stormworks. We got some really crazy, great builders in our community, and I'm kind of proud of the community we have. And so, yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, definitely go check it out. And I'm going to quit yapping for now. And the last thing I will say is, guys, if you like this build, obviously it's pretty close to done here, but if you like this build, don't forget to hit that like button, show some love, and, we're going to get right into the building. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit more kind of gameplay time, and after that we'll bring it back into the hangar, and we'll start doing some painting and lights and all sorts of fun stuff. So enough of all of those festivities. You guys can see we got the altitude hold here is working fine. The autopilot here is working fine. And we've even got some audio tones. Now I'm going to try to land this thing, which it might, I don't remember, it might end up in a crash. So don't be surprised if we smash this thing into the ground. But yeah, the rest of it seems to be functioning pretty well. We got our hard points hooked up. We got our sonars hooked up. We got all of our fuel pumping stuff hooked up. So yeah, pretty much for the most part it's done. Now it's not handling great. I will say since then I've done a little bit of work kind of in preparation to getting this on the workshop. So what you guys won't see is I went in the background and kind of fixed a lot of the PIDs so we don't have as many issues like this. Okay, no, it did save itself. But yeah, so I went in, I fixed some of the PIDs, I made sure everything was labeled, I tried to fix some of the spelling mistakes and whatnot. But yeah, so it should be flying a little bit better. I did a little bit of paint work, but nothing crazy. It's still just going to be the classic, Al gray and white and black and orange. So that's kind of what we're going for, but we finally crashed into the ground, which means we can get into the building. So we're over here in the workbench, and I'm just going to start kind of just tidying things up a little bit. So there's no specific projects that I want to work on today, as much as I kind of just want to make it start kind of looking a little bit more well-rounded, finished, and put together. So we're just going to add some structure and some details, some lights, some paint, that kind of good stuff, and hopefully it'll start looking a lot better towards the end of the episode. All right, so one thing I definitely did want to add, and probably one of the larger things we'll do today, is I wanted to add another set of fuel taps for the jet and diesel. So we're kind of trying to put them around here-ish. They're not going to be, they're not going to be able to move all that much. There's not too much space over here. But basically what I want is I just want to have a couple hose attachments where you guys can hook in and refuel things that might be in the cargo bay. So, we have some down by the ramp back there. We have some off the wings. And, obviously we have our drogues in our probe and whatnot. But I just wanted to add one more back here. And on the other side, we'll put a couple charging stands in. So you can top off the batteries, make sure that none of the batteries for anything you're flying are dead. But this is one last thing that I definitely wanted to add. And it's a really, really awkward kind of space over here anyway. So it helps us fill that area up and fix that problem. And I think it doesn't look bad. It's just another kind of technical thing going on the side. And, it's kind of realistic to a plane. Not super realistic. You would never have a fuel tap inside the fuselage. It's not very safe, but we have them here, and that way, you guys can kind of just have another service point for any vehicles you might be putting in the back of this thing, which, I know it's technically it's mostly going to be for aerial refueling and, AWACS uses, but having the extra fuel taps here definitely isn't going to hurt anything. And like I said, the space is just kind of awkward, so I wanted to find something to do with it, and I think that this is a pretty good middle ground for that. All right, so the other big thing that I wanted to kind of do today is lighting. And when I say lighting is we don't really have any lighting back here in the cargo area, but I wanted to add both a daytime and a nighttime mode. And the nighttime mode is going to be kind of this green cyanish color that you guys are seeing. And the reason that I'm doing that is, well, I like the color and I messed around with the color a lot to get it to that shade. But the other thing is, generally for nighttime lighting, I always go with a green or a red. And the reason that I do that is green, or well, not necessarily green, but red is a lot less capable of dilating your eyes at night. So your night vision still works a lot better. And that's why you see a lot of like kind of instrument clusters on cars. Well, not necessarily newer cars, but older cars also often would have, the green or the red lights in the dash, and it's for that reason. So kind of the same idea here. We are doing something that is going to be a little bit easier on your eyes at night. And the other thing is it kind of looks cool. And I'll be honest, the looks cool is more of a priority than being easy on your eyes. But yeah, that's kind of why we went with the color that we went with. And the other thing we're going to do is we'll add a bunch of kind of indicators to the ground here that light up some of the walkways bright orange. And that'll just kind of be a nice contrast, as well as, kind of fit in with the theming of, my vehicles and some of my other builds. And they're all kind of the same color scheme. So I think it'll match well, and it'll just kind of be another nice little detail for the plane. And I will be honest, I spent an embarrassingly long time changing that color. I cut it off, and you guys probably saw me messing around with it a little bit in the video, but I probably spawned this thing in 20-30 times to get that exact color that I wanted. So this is the final hue over here, if I remember correctly. This is kind of like the final hue that we go with. It's just like this really soft bluish green. And we got to add more lights to the, kind of the external parts of the aircraft. But as far as the interior goes, we have that big spotlight, and we'll add a couple more just little green lights everywhere about in the cabin for that mode, as well as the normal lights for daytime and whatnot. And it's about this time that I realized I didn't have any main controls for the ramp either. So that is something that we're going to go ahead and add in quick. And the other nice thing about this is I'm just using the throttle lever here, so it makes it a lot easier to kind of connect later on, especially because we're going to have ramp controls up in the cockpit, which I believe I don't think they're already there, but there will be controls for the ramp. And you can see that I also added some controls on the exterior of the plane also, just so you can kind of access the ramp and use it while you are kind of locked out of the plane. Now, there's no passenger doors on this airplane like there would be on most conventional planes, so you do have to get in the plane either through the landing gear or the cargo ramp. So I know you guys probably haven't seen the landing gear, but there is in the front landing gear, there is a ladder and a hatch that brings you into the cockpit. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you can't find a way to get in, there's controls towards the rear that control the ramp. And then there's also, while you're landed, you can crawl through the landing gear bay. And that's only the front landing gear. But yeah, so we're going to focusing on getting those controls in, and I'm just going to make sure it kind of looks okay. I kind of liked the red, but I think we're going to switch it out. It doesn't really stand out too much. Might have to change that to white, especially because during the day it looks a little weird with it being red. But that's not too hard. We just got to change around some paint block colors, and we're gonna definitely change that to white. I think at least the buttons gotta be white. The ramp kind of looks a little silly to me, but that kind of color scheming is what we're gonna go for on a lot of the floor. So I mentioned earlier that we're gonna put a bunch of paint blocks and indicators into the floor and whatnot. That's kind of what we're gonna go for. So we'll start working on that right now, so you guys can kind of see. But we're not gonna go overboard with this. Just a couple lines here or there to help you kind of find the walkways and whatnot. And, also, help make sure you don't just fall out of the aircraft. But that is not my responsibility. So if you do, that's not my fault, guys. That's yours. But yeah, that's kind of just the gist. Just very simple lines. They're going to turn on when you turn the nighttime lights on. And that way it'll just kind of illuminate the walkways, which are these darker sections that we painted on the black. I do that on a lot of my builds. I kind of like to think that it's like some sort of grip tape or something like that, some sort of abrasive material that makes the surface a lot less slippery for you to walk on. Yeah, that's kind of the general gist. We're just going to kind of play around with a bunch of indicators and lines, and we'll spawn it in the world and check it out in a few minutes. All right, well, guys, that is pretty much all we got for this one. So I don't believe there's going to be another episode of this series. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But definitely getting pretty close to done with this, guy. So I should hopefully get this on the workshop for you guys in a week or two or whatnot. I know I just don't like doing the workshop descriptions. I'm going to be honest. It takes so long. But, I'll get it done. I'm very kind of particular with that kind of stuff. So I really get upset when they don't look a certain way. But I'm just rambling right now. We're going to hop in the overworld here. We'll kind of check out the lights we did. And, we'll just kind of close out the video. So if you guys like this series, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We're basically done with it at this point. So I've got a pretty exciting new build coming up for you guys. That's going to be another militarized build, but we're going to go back to the boat thing. And I think you guys will really, really like what we got in store. So that's all I got for this one. Thank you if you stayed to the end. I appreciate it so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.